Hello everyone, I am Dr. Ajay Kumar. I am Deputy Director for Center for Operational Research in International Union Against Tuberculosis and Lung Disease. In this session, I am going to talk to you on safety and security of dataset. By the end of this session, you should be able to back up your data as well as encrypt your dataset using a password. Now, nothing is more precious than the double entered and clean data, and nothing is worse than losing it. Unfortunately, most people realize the value of having taken a backup only after they go through the painful experience of losing it. Now, this is an important consideration, and fortunately, EpiData has a feature using which you can force the software to do a backup every time you close the rec file. Now, we will go through that in a minute. An additional concern is also security of the dataset. This relates to the issue of confidentiality of the data. Even if somebody gets access to data, they should not be able to get access to what is there inside the dataset, because in most cases the datasets have confidential information about patients or other people, and people should not have, unauthorized people should not have access to it. So how do you password protect your files? How do you encrypt your files so that nobody else can have access to data other than the authorized people? So that is the focus of this presentation. So in fact, it is very simple. There are two ways of taking backup and encryption. One is the menu-based approach, other one is a program. First, let's look at the menu-based approach. All you have to do is, in EpiData, go to Tools, click on Create Archive, and then you get a dialog box like this. Choose the directory which you want to archive. Okay, archive is nothing but taking a backup. And click on all files in the directory, include subdirectories. So you are taking a backup of the entire directory. And also click on encrypt. And the moment you encrypt, look at this file. It is getting saved as EpiData course and the date when it was generated .zky. Now this is an encrypted file, and so it prompts for a password. Let's look at it live. So let me go to Tools and say Create Archive. Let us choose the folder EpiData course. Okay, and then I'm going to click all files in the directory, include subdirectories. If you notice here, currently it is getting saved as EpiData course, today's date 3rd August 2015 .zip. Okay, it's just getting backed up as a zip file. Now let me change the site of, so let me go back to the same course folder for the time being, EpiData course, and say open. Okay, so I'm saving this right in that folder. Normally this is not the right practice. You must back up always in an external medium and not on your own computer, because if your computer crashes, then you will lose everything, including your backup. So for demonstration purposes, I am showing it here. Now if you look at this, till now we are trying to archive, but the moment I click encrypt, notice what happens here. The extension changed from .zip to .zky. Now this is an encrypted file and it is prompting you to enter a password. So let me enter a password, then say OK. And so it says this particular all the files in the C EpiData course has been archived and encrypted, and the result is been saved as a ZKY file. Click OK. Let's go back to see this is the file. And unfortunately, fortunately, you try to open, it's a good encryption. So and if you forget the password, even you yourself will not be able to access the file. So let's quickly now look at how to restore this. Okay, go to tools and say restore archive. Okay, restore archive, and then you have to choose which is the file you want to restore. So this is the file. Okay, you have to give password. Okay, and then you have to give where this should be restored. So I'm going to go and let me go to desktop and say OK. There are no such files, so I don't have to say replace existing files and say OK. It says it has been decrypted and unzipped to desktop. So let me go to desktop, and you can see here all the files are unzipped and decrypted to desktop. Okay, is this clear? How to create an archive, how to take a backup, how to encrypt the dataset, and how to restore from the archived and encrypted dataset. Now, one last thing I have to show, and that is how you can ensure that only authorized people can open the rec file. Okay, and how do you put another password for opening the rec file? Now, for that, you have to create a field called as encryption field. So I'm going to open the quest file, and in the quest file I'm going to say a new variable called password, and here I'm going to field pick list and say in the text field it's an encryption field, and I can choose whatever my length, whatever the length I desire, and say insert. Okay, so this is an encryption field. That means it will prompt for a password shortly. Okay, let's do the usual routine. Align fields, save it, make data file. Because I have some data set already entered, I won't do a make data file, but go to tools and say revise data file. Yes, and now it is asking me for the password because the data file contains one or more encrypted fields. Let me give a password. Say OK. Now this has been created. Great. Now let me close this, and one of the things I want to do is open the check file. It's again asking me for a password, and it's telling me there are unknown field name. If you choose no, it will all be lost. Say no, that is fine. This is the password. I'm going to go and make this a no enter field, so that the data entry operator should not be able to enter that field. So after having done that, okay, let's say you want to begin EpiData and enter some data. The moment you try to enter some data, it asks for a password. So this is another level of security that you can use. So we learned three things. One is how to take backup, how to encrypt, as well as how to create a encryption field within the dataset, so that every time you try to open the dataset, it prompts for a password. Okay, is that fine? So let me close this and show one final thing. Yes, so this is the menu-based approach of doing it. If you want the software to take backup and encrypt automatically every time you close the rec file, then you have to go for a command called backup and put it as an after file command. So backup and tell what is the site to be backed up, what is the location, and then you can use another command encrypt and tell the file name, use your password, any password that you want, and mention today to ensure that you also get the date at the end of the encrypted file. Now, by doing this as a after file option, every time you close a rec file, the backup as well as encryption happens automatically. And I would even suggest that you do this to one of your cloud servers like Dropbox or some other thing, so that every time you close, you have a backup on the cloud, so that even in case your system crashes, you will always have a copy to fall back on. Okay, so just to finally summarize and revise, let's look at this. We began with our original data source. We learned how to prepare a data documentation sheet. We learned what's a quest file, rec file, check file, many check commands we learned. We learned how to set it up for double data entry and validation. And we also learned how to analyze, not analyze, but export data into other formats for analysis. Finally, we also learned how to safeguard our dataset by taking regular backups, as well as how to encrypt our dataset using a password. Finally, a couple of slides. One thing is how to keep in touch and support each other, how to continue this learning that you've had till now. One is, of course, use the help file which is available in EpiData. So let me show you. If you go to help and click on contents, you get this, and anything that you want, you can just type in index. Let's say I want to know about if, so just type if check command, and then it tells you all about if, then, and if, the syntax, and all the examples, everything is given here. So this is a very useful feature. Please make use of this. So in case you are in trouble, the first place to go is the help file within the software. And if that does not solve your problem, then you should go to your mentors or other colleagues who are using EpiData. Even there, if you do not get a satisfactory solution, the next place is to go to EpiData list. And I would all urge you to sign up for this EpiData list. It's a great online forum for sharing, helping, and supporting each other. And there is a link here. You can follow this link to EpiData list for discussion and help among users. In fact, all the questions which have been asked till now, till date, have all been archived in this particular place. And you can actually go there and search for your whatever trouble you've had. And if you want to join EpiData list, you can send an email to this particular email ID with this subject, and then you will be getting regular updates about if anybody asks any question in the forum and somebody else answers, all of that you will have access. And there are options. Either you can opt for a daily email or a weekly digest. Accordingly, as per your convenience, this will come to your inbox. How you can support EpiData? Probably, there are newer versions of EpiData coming. In fact, EpiData entry, there is already a new version, very improved new version. It's called EpiData Manager and Entry Client. You can test the new versions as they come on board and provide systematic feedback to the EpiData Association so that they improve on the tool. You could be the one who will be responding to queries on the EpiData list if you know the answer. Okay. In this way, we can support and keep in touch with each other. Finally, a slide on potential limitations of EpiData entry. These are not really big limitations, but just for the sake of completion, I have to mention it here. The first limitation says the number of lines in the quest file cannot be more than 999. That means it indirectly is telling me that you can't go beyond 999 variables in a dataset. Now, I don't know of many datasets which have about 1,000 variables, but it presumes that they can write only one variable in one line, which is not true. I have tried this. You can in fact have more than one variable in the same line, which means that this is only the minimum number of variables. If at all you need, you can go even more. The second limitation says the size of the quests and the check file cannot exceed 64 kilobytes. I don't know how many of you have handled text files. In simple text files, 64 kilobytes means a lot. So this again, I do not think is a big limitation. Number of records. In theory, there is no limit to the number of records in EpiData, but the number of records has been tested at 250,000. So, if you have very large data sets like census or something, then certainly EpiData is not the right tool. There you have to go for more sophisticated databases, including an open access one, which is called CS Pro. And there are some restrictions to the length of values and value labels. And finally, EpiData is a single user system. Multiple users cannot access the database at the same time. Although you can put it on a shared drive, only one user can use it at a time. So this is another limitation. So to sum up, EpiData entry is a great tool for data entry. It's small, the file sizes are small, and it's sufficient for our purposes, can achieve the highest quality in data. It can achieve double entry and validation, which is considered the gold standard in ensuring quality. It has a great and a very smart check file. So it is possible to quality assure and be efficient with your data entry. Thank you very much. Hope you had a great learning in EpiData.